Coming to you live from the Business Radio X studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio, brought to you by IDS, an award-winning digital marketing agency that delivers integrated marketing solutions for franchisors, franchisees, and franchise development teams. Learn why over 75 brands depend on IDS's team of dedicated marketers and client service professionals to deliver a strong ROI on their marketing investment. Go to idsfranchisemarketing.com for a complimentary digital audit and consultation.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Franchise Marketing Radio. I'm Rob Ganley, your host, and today I have two very special guests with me. I have Sean Fitzgerald. He is the president of TruBlue Total House Care. And also we have franchise owner, multi-unit franchise owner, Vince Maffeo with us today. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Good deal. So let me start with you, Sean. Tell us a little bit about the brand TruBlue House Care and who you're serving, and a little bit about how you wound up there and where you're headed.
Yeah, so kind of like the 30-second overview of TruBlue is we are basically a handyman and home maintenance business that caters specifically to seniors and busy adults. And so it's not necessarily just home repair. It's really kind of focusing on ongoing support around the home. So it's repairs, but maintenance. And we do have a subscription-based business as part of it, because I think one of the major things that people struggle with their homes is routine maintenance. And I say struggle with it, they probably aren't even aware. And then when you look at seniors, that becomes even a larger challenge, because it's not only maintenance, but it's just to-do list chores around the house. And for most people, doing to-do list chores is not a big deal. But when it comes to seniors, not only is it a big deal, but it could be a huge safety issue. And that's really what our long-term focus is with TruBlue, is really becoming that missing piece to the puzzle of aging in place. And so how I got started with TruBlue, I've been in franchising my entire professional career, started a business and franchised it in college, and then just been in franchising ever since. And I've worked with some very large franchise concepts to very small startup concepts. And one of those stops was a senior care company. I was executive vice president. And this was going back in, right around the late, 2000s, 2008 to 10 period. And while I was there, we were growing very rapidly. But one of the challenges that we identified was the home environment. And, as a senior care company, we could take care of the individual, but we were running into issues as far as falls. And many of those falls were due to the fact that the home environment was not either prepared, safe, or even maintained on an ongoing basis. And as a senior care company, we were running into not only losing clients because of that, but we were also experiencing workers' comp issues. So we were looking at, okay, how can we solve that problem? And I went looking for a TruBlue, and there wasn't anything there. And so I just kind of filed that in the back of my head and said, wow, there is a big need for this. And someone's going to come along and figure it out. And, it's going to be a really smart, good business. So fast forward about 3 years ago, I stumbled across TruBlue and realized, wow, what a great concept, because it was catering towards that. And I just felt like, with my background, my experience in senior care, I felt like I had a good strategy and plan to connect the dots to make it an extremely viable and long-term business. And it had been around for 10 years. It was a handyman business that was catering to seniors, but understanding how to market to the senior industry is really critical to this whole piece. And that's what we started implementing and starting seeing some really great growth and success recently as it relates to that.
Wow. Yeah, I have a lot of experience myself with the industry. And I just have a story, right? I was home a few months ago visiting my sister, and it's kind of tied to awareness in the industry and some of the problems that companies like you are helping with. But, I go home, I'm only home for, I think we met a few nights, right? I'm visiting a few different people. and I'm with my sister on 2 different occasions in the evenings. And they got calls from 2 different neighbors that someone had fallen. Elderly folks had fallen. And I think one was in her late 80s and one was about 90. But just thinking, because I'm also in the industry as well, and understanding the various services that are provided, but truly the need is increasing and increasing, right? The population is moving into that space where that is more and more of a concern. And, obviously seniors, our moms, our dads, if you're my age, they don't want to leave home. They want to stay there. You want to make sure they're safe. And you're right. There's really who does that? We didn't immediately think, right? There could be, a company that should come in and take a look. Anyway, I wanted to share that because again, you're right. It's everywhere. And I think it's going to get more and more common. So I appreciate you sharing that. So just kind of continue with the conversation. I know you guys are a top ranked franchise with Entrepreneur, top 500. Tell me a little bit about your model. Tell me why that is. You mentioned a little earlier that you're a subscription model. And I know that in your market, if there's anyone that can help, it's very fragmented and they probably aren't specializing, right? In certainly the senior angle. But tell me a little bit more. What is it about your model that is so acclaimed, if you will? Why is it working so well?
Yeah, well, I think there's it's twofold to it. So part of it is when I approached looking at TruBlue, and we really had to kind of refresh not only our brand, but who we were. And I really looked at it as, the senior industry itself, the care industry is, you have to have employees, they're screened, background check, bonded, insured. There's a huge trust factor. And it's not completely different when it comes to people's homes, whether they're seniors or not. So the first thing is we had to have a higher standard of service. So if we were going to, if families or adults with parents that they're trying to take care of are going to trust us, we have to stand behind that. And that's where, part of that was we're going to have employees that are screened, background check, bonded and insured, and adapt to the kind of standards that the senior care industry has done. In addition to that, we make it a requirement for our franchise owners to have certain certifications, whether it's the ability to do senior home safety assessments or a well-known CAP certification, which is part of our program. So we're not just marketing and targeting seniors, that we're actually educated, we're very passionate about it, and we really want to help people age in place successfully. And I think what drives some of our franchisees, which, I came from the industry, but I lived it too. I had aging parents. I lost my father-in-law to a fall. He fell down the steps, broke his neck, became quadriplegic, and eventually, passed away from those complications. But it was 100% preventable. And so many of these falls are. And it starts with just some basic things. But what's really missing, I think there's nothing new to senior modifications. What I think is uniquely new and different from TruBlue is the ongoing piece. And that is the maintenance and to-do list chores. And that is what's really going to, I think, help the industry and helping people age in place at home successfully, is that by working with companies and that kind of collaboration between the senior care industry and the senior care partners, and then us providing getting the home safe as we can, whether it's modifications, but coming in and making sure that it's maintained well. And I believe that a lot of it, the falls with seniors, are them doing things they should not be doing. And that's changing light bulbs, getting on ladders, things that most people don't even think about and wouldn't call a business to do. But my father lives in Pennsylvania. I live in Ohio. I can't go out and help him change a light bulb. So having programs like this just provides that full peace of mind, and working with senior care companies and collaborating with them to really solve this issue. And, the one thing I'll kind of talk about too is that I always say I chose TruBlue. I didn't have to do this. And this is a business with a purpose. I love what we do. Our owners are very passionate about it as well. And there's something really cool about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's funny you're saying all that, because one of my clients is in the senior care space and I felt the same way. It was important, and having, maybe it's our age. When you get to a certain age and your parents are at a certain age, you start to experience these things, but so important. And you mentioned a lot of key things that I think are regardless of the purpose and mission and the need, which is all great. And that's why we do it. But it also works really well for marketing, right? It's marketing. I want to trust folks. I want to know they're doing the right thing by me. It's truly helpful to me. And I think you're right. A lot of the need is not only the preventative maintenance and the assessing things, making sure all the right safeguards are in place. It's also the maintenance, right? It's also the guy to call for the different things. So mom and dad can get it done, right? That is good at what he does, right? My dad was a pretty picky guy when it came to anybody. And I laughed when you said the ladder, because he was, I don't know. He passed away at 82. So he was on a ladder that year. Like he was on ladders. And I kept telling him, man, you fall one time, you don't recover from that very easily, right? If at all. So excellent stuff. So tell me a little bit about, you said there's a subscription service, right? So when you launch a brand new franchisee, we'll talk about launch in a minute, but let's talk about just the day-to-day running the business. How does that help, that model, having a subscription service? Versus maybe what the independents might try to do, like the handymans, other types of handyman services. But how does this help? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So our target audience, obviously the seniors make sense. And that is a safety issue, because that is where I think seniors are struggling is those to-do list chores, moving furniture. And holiday season, they want to get their Christmas tree out of their basement. The weather's turning nice. They want their patio furniture out of their shed. If they don't have someone helping it, they're going to try to do it themselves and put them in harm's way. So that is a big piece of that. And it's that ongoing help and support. And for those seniors or those families who have seniors or are living at home and aging in place by themselves, that is a must have and a safety piece of it. The other piece of our business too is just busy adults and really trying to educate the consumer on ongoing maintenance of the home. And I always use this example as like an aha moment for many people. Is like, I always talk about Jiffy Lube. What Jiffy Lube did to the cars in the 90s, and now everybody who has a vehicle routinely and religiously gets the maintenance done on those vehicles. They don't miss it. But your home has to have the same type of maintenance, and there's a lot more of it. And the homeowners just don't do it. It's just, they just neglect it and things break down all the time. So part of what we want to do is educate our customers on the importance of maintenance. And oh, by the way, we have subscription model where we can come out and take care of that for you and be able to take care of issues that do come or that list of things that you want done around the home. So from the senior perspective, it's a safety thing. And for a regular homeowner, it's not the fact that they don't do the maintenance and because they just don't know what needs to be done. And if we educate them and say, hey, here's the things that need to be done on an annual basis, quarterly basis, and we can take care of it, no different than if you go to a dealership with your car, they inform you and everybody does it. So it's really an awareness strategy, education. And that's what makes the marketing aspect of this a little challenging. There's nothing out there. So you can't just do a billboard or a traditional ad and say, here's what we do. So it's really important. And this is why, we have owners like Vince, who I think are going to be fantastic in this, is that because the senior care industry is all driven through referrals and it's all about education. And so you combine that with what we're doing with TruBlue, that model is very, very similar. And so we train our owners. We're based off of the same model as the senior care industry is. You got to connect with referral sources. You got to educate them on what we do. Once they find out about what we do, they're excited about it. And so when I first talked to Vince, and he was part of Comfort Keepers, who we had just, entered in a strategic relationship alliance with Comfort Keepers. Talking with him, I was like, you already have the infrastructure, the teams, the referral sources that you're working with. This is a great bolt-on. On top of that would just make a great rounded out business. But also, it's a great value add for your customers too, because now they can come to someone like Vince and get that senior care that they need. But also the family doesn't have to worry about, okay, well, we know someone's taking care of mom, but what about the house and who's going to take care of it? And that complementary is just, very rarely have I seen two business models that really complement each other on long term in so many ways.
I want to talk to Vince in a minute. One of the things about, just want to unpack a little of what you said that's important is one, it's very much a referral business, right? It's knowing others that are supporting the same type of customer, and really the objectives are very similar, right? But coming from different angles. One might be more medical, whereas TruBlue is more handling the day-to-day of everything, right? That can cause stress and other factors that lead to medical, really. So it's really a nice complement. But I would also think that in this business, you're making huge impacts, like peace of mind. You use that phrase. The brand I work with uses that as well, because when you think about myself, if I, like you mentioned, your dad not being near you, it is peace of mind for you as well, not just him. He might not even care. He might not think so. But I think and then so I would think referrals and reviews and positivity is just common, because you really are helping people, where it's like, it's not even about the money. It's about just feeling better. And when I need you, you're there. Like when because it's usually important, right? Even if it's a small thing like moving furniture, it's just important to get it done. So I think that's amazing. So let me pivot over to you, Vince, because you have a lot of experience in serving this market, through Comfort Keepers. But tell me a little bit about your decision, your why to come on board, and a little bit of how you're seeing it, how this complement works for you.
Sure. Really, I look at it as being the most complementary business that I could offer, a service that I could offer in conjunction with my existing Comfort Keepers business, because the exact way that we're going to market right now for our senior care clients to take care of them is the same way that we would say we're going to take care of their house. And so it's a very natural lead in, because these are things that we're already discussing with our clients when we're in their home to do assessments, because we're looking for signs of, safety issues or things that may be in disrepair in the home. And until now, we've not had a way to address those problems other than letting family members know that they exist. Now, being able to actually say to the family members, we can take care of these issues, and by the way, keep it up on an ongoing basis, to me is a very winning combination.
Yeah. And I know just from a little bit, being involved in the industry, I know there's a lot of technology that they're coming out with, obviously home technology, connected technology. Is there some things you guys are doing or thinking about? How does that play into some of the things you guys are doing?
Well, technology plays a critical role in so many levels, whether it's just communicating with the clients, because just like the senior care industry, the payer or decision maker may not be the one receiving the services. So being able to inform them on what's going on is really critical. And so having those platforms where we can actually have the not the homeowners, but the adult children, we have a platform where we can share like what type of things are being done, when it was done. That kind of constant communication is going to be very critical. In order for the adult children to be able to know that the services are being done, and that, again, that peace of mind. So utilizing that technology is a big part of just managing the whole process. And so we definitely embrace it, and communicating back and forth is key.
Yeah. Are there any safeguards in the homes that you're working with in terms of like just any way to monitor, alert, anything you guys recommend? Yeah. What would be some of the? Yeah,
we partner with a couple companies because now what you're starting to see is that, aging in place is just going to it's not going away, and it's just only going to grow. Right. And post COVID, it's just even more so. But there's different levels of needs for someone to age in place. Some of it, they may not need in-home care, or at least need it extensively. So there's some technology platforms that we partner with where we can actually non-camera monitoring. So it's behavioral monitoring. It's like you're up in the middle of the night, or if they're in the bathroom for a long period of time, they can actually check in. So it's kind of like a virtual check-in, and just keeping an eye on their loved one, far more than what just a traditional security system was. There's also fall detection technology, all those combined. And so this is that whole collaborative effort where that someone can partner with, say, Vince and his Comfort Keepers and TruBlue, and then also through the whole phase of aging, whether they need care today, they may not, but, we may come out and do the senior modifications and ongoing. And then the next thing you know what, we do need help with mom with her medication and so forth. And all of a sudden, Vince comes in with Comfort Keeper, starts taking care from the care perspective. And then you enhance it with monitoring. So when maybe there isn't a caregiver there, they have that peace of mind knowing that the home environment is safe. And it really comes down to this. I looked at it when I first got with TruBlue, is why someone would put someone in a nursing home in the first place. We all know it's incredibly expensive. We all know that it's not what the seniors want. And so it really came down to, what a nursing home provides. Well, it provides peace of mind for the adult children. And that's because it's an environment that's designed and maintained for seniors. They get care and they're monitored. And now with these services and with like Vince is building with his Comfort Care and TruBlue, you can get that at home now. And so and at a cost that is just a fraction of what is a nursing home. And at the end, the senior's happy. And what better way for someone to live out the remaining part of their lives than the way they want. It's what I want. I want to age. I want to live out my life in my home. So I feel that seniors deserve this. And I'm very excited about these type of services that we can provide as an option for families.
Yeah, no, that's huge, because we talk about like the population moving and getting and aging is a large group of people that will be put in that position where they've got to up the ante at home. They got to have better monitoring. They got to have like all the safeguards you kind of mentioned, right? That for many, it has to be in place soon. and like, if the only option is going to an assisted living or nursing home or what have you, that's tough for a lot of people. Especially because they don't want it on top of it. So even so, just the sheer demand, I see you guys being a big player because there needs to be options, if you will. There hasn't been as many up until now. So tell me a little bit about everything I'm hearing in this business model. Really sounds super, super stable, right? It's a growing market, a super need in the market, very appreciative customers, right? Clearly, as a marketing, when you're looking at the marketing of it, it's a lot about partnering, right, with local businesses that serve the same customer in the same kind of regard, keeping aging in place, keeping them at home safely. Tell me how that helps. Like in this, as we approach the future, there's been a lot of like up and down and, are we going to head into a recession? Are we not? What's going on? But clearly there's a lot of indicators that are just, I know, make everybody a little nervous, right? So tell me how you deal with that, Sean, as the leader of the brand. And again, the stability of this model sounds like it's really well built, but tell me how that plays in. I know you think about those things.
Very, very, it's got very little impact. And here's why. It's just like the senior care industry. And like I said, Vince has been in it a long time. And when it comes to caring seniors and our customers, particularly, it's considered private pay. So these are out-of-pocket expenditures. These people have planned for retirement. These families have budgeted this. So they don't cut it like it's a vacation where the economy's bad. Maybe you don't go on vacation. You don't cut and say, well, the economy's bad, grandma, you're going to have to figure out how to take care of yourself, right? So it just doesn't happen. So we don't really see that. Now, when you also look at the fact that the cost of the alternative, which is a nursing home, this would only, I think, again, down economy may even help us more, because now someone may not look at, hey, we're going to spend a lot of money putting someone in a nursing home. Let's just try to extend that person in the home longer. And that's going to be a key to it too. But I also see it's interesting that it's not just seniors that we're seeing this in-home care and need. The medical industry is pushing healing in place. So, 20 years ago, you got a knee replacement or any kind of major surgery, you're in the hospital for a while. Now you're out of the hospital that day. And many of these homes are not equipped for someone who has a knee replacement or a hip replacement. And they may not be 80 years old and need care from a senior perspective, but they do kind of need help and care. And the home may need to be maintained because if you got a knee replacement or a hip replacement, you're not taking care of the house for a while. And so it just really opens up this aspect of from the care side. Now, just from the home maintenance piece, it's the same thing. People say, well, the economy's bad. I'm not going to get the oil change in my car. I'm just going to roll the dice. It just doesn't happen. And it's a cost saving measure that if you're doing the maintenance, it's going to save you money in the long run versus waiting for your hot water heater to break and replace it. Spending a little bit of money to maintain major parts of your home are going to pay off dividends. So I really see that regardless of the economic conditions, who we're targeting, the need from a safety perspective, people just don't cut when it comes to health and safety. And the last piece, like I said, they've already budgeted for it and they're expecting it. And I think you're going to see more. Well, we're starting to see it already. We're starting to see more programs, Medicare Advantage programs, paying for senior modifications. And we play a significant role in that. And that's not even ongoing. That's just grab handles and hand showers and things like that. As more awareness, and as more people age in place and these challenges are presented to the medical and the healthcare industry, the health insurance and the Medicare industry, they're going to look for solutions to help people age in place. And it's not always care. And we can play a significant role in that. So to me, I'm very bullish on where we're going with TruBlue and the opportunities. We have, we're not there quite yet with all those type of programs, but I think it's coming down the pipe.
Yeah. No, I knew you were going to have a great answer, but I didn't think of the medical. That's a real, and again, the other angle is I think you guys are the flexibility. You are the option. It's a premium service, but you just can't compare it to the other option because it just costs more to deliver the other option. Mm-hmm. So while you still have a great service, it's just going to be a lot better option for those that aren't either ready or can't afford certain options that are out of the home. So before we wrap up the show, it's been great having you guys. I wanted to just ask Vince, I often ask the question of people that I talk to, what is the DNA to this type of person, to run this kind of a business? And what is that? What do you look for? What do you think you might need to possess to be successful as a franchisee? And so I know you've done it. You have some already, and now you're adding this to your business. Tell me a little bit of how you see it. What do you think from the folks you've been around? What is that DNA of a TruBlue or something similar kind of business owner? What are those attributes?
It's very much a get it done mentality. And I'm humbled by the TruBlue franchisees that I've had the privilege of meeting so far, who are all very, very skilled at just getting in there and getting stuff done. And I'm excited about building the brand with them to help tap into the same referral sources that I use on the home care side to be able to help them grow their business and grow my own business. And so it's really just a combination of those skill sets. It's not a magic formula. It really has to do with serving your referral sources, because that's how we get clients at Comfort Keepers. And so I can't tell you how many times we've gone into a hospital or a skilled nursing facility to try to get a referral source to refer a client to us, and they will ask about the physical condition of the home, and we say we don't know because we haven't been there yet. And so now to be able to not only take care of the client, but also inspect the home and then make recommendations on how to change the home to make it safe for the client, that's a winning combination right there. And the other thing I think that we have to lean into is the demographics of the United States. And so when I look at it, my average client at Comfort Keepers is about 80 years old. Well, the oldest baby boomer just turned 75 last year. So that means on average, they're not even my client yet. And then we have 10,000 people a day turning 75 after that. And that's going to continue for the next 18 years. So if we think that it's busy now, we have not seen anything yet, because the fact that this tsunami that people have talked about it's going to be affecting us. People are going to want to stay in their homes, and they're going to want to be able to adapt their lifestyles to their physical condition at that time. And it's going to keep us sustained for the next couple of decades.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a need. I mean, I'm a younger person, but I'm not going to lie and say it didn't cross my mind. Like, what am I going to do when I'm older? Right. Like, people have that concern with some of the costs, right? I'm referring to mostly, I think it's like, well, will there be options for me? What will I do? but I'm glad there's innovative entrepreneurs all around us. And when that tsunami really does push, like I said, when it hits the 80s, like you said, it really, they need the help, right? Even more and more and more, it just increases. So it's good to have you out there. I'm glad you're there. So let me wrap up one thing with one last marketing question. And because you had mentioned something about, well, there's a couple things. Awareness, right? We talked about awareness. And I know in our industry, that is a little bit of an issue. You wouldn't think it was, because we actually are aware of it. We don't talk about it as much, right? We don't share with our friends or tell our friends about our parents, or it becomes more of a personal thing. I know employees don't often share it with their employer if they're taking care of mom and dad in some way, or stressed about it, or what have you. How do you take digital marketing, which, again, when you lack awareness, the customer doesn't really know what you do. They don't know exactly what they're looking for potentially. So if you're thinking of Google, obviously with really obvious service, well, handyman services would be something that people look for, but not in the orientation that you guys are serving the public. So how do you deal with that? Like, what do you want to make sure you're branding? You want to make sure you're visible. Obviously, reviews are important, but how do you look at that? What do you want to make sure? What is the balance? Even though most of the business is probably from your partners and your relationships locally, but how do you take care of the other side just to make sure that box is checked? Maybe Sean, maybe you could start, and then Vince, if you have a follow up.
Yeah, we have a two-pronged approach, really, when we look at it from a marketing perspective. The handyman side of the business is really a lot of traditional digital marketing. And so something breaks, they Google, and being present is really important. But so much of what we're trying to do is we look at the handyman business from a non-senior perspective as the entry point. And we want them to become lifelong customer of ours. And so it's really educating them on the values that we provide and doing ongoing. So a lot of content. So we're creating a lot of content about the importance of maintenance. And the best way to get content out is through social media. And so it's an approach of education and versus selling. And then when you move over to the senior piece of it, a lot of it is obviously referral driven, but there's so much education awareness. There really hasn't been a company doing what we're doing. There have been companies doing senior modifications, but the ongoing piece of the maintenance and to-do list chores for seniors is new. So people don't know that it's out there. And the importance of it. And so by providing a lot of, content, we're doing video content, we're doing blog content, just kind of answering the questions on how to age successfully in place. And so, and getting that out to customers and targeting, because we know that if Vince knows as well as anybody else, the seniors aren't the ones picking up the phone and saying, I need help. It's the adult children. And so reaching them through the most successful channels is going to be referral sources, but we can also push through the digital side with educational content. And that's what we're really focused on.
Awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, I think that obviously, first of all, buyers are buying that way. We all buy that way. Meaning we look to be educated, to be knowledgeable before we make decisions. And the internet kind of trained us to do that. But in this market, it is very much meeting the adult children where we are. As we evolve, as we start to be concerned, I think things like aging in place, those phrases, those ideas, like, I'm not sure if there's anything out there, but let me Google it, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's your article or there's your content to help them see, oh, wait a minute. And there's some things I could be thinking about that might help. So that's great. I think you do that. And of course, you have that network locally. Vince, do you find, obviously you have a big network locally. Tell me a little bit. Are you working with any of the other types of marketing channels, or what do you find to be helpful in your current business?
It's very similar to what Sean described in that we're a business that people don't even know exists until they need it. And then they're in that range, in that zone, and they say, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this whole ecosystem of businesses even existed. And so they're pleased from that perspective, because we say, oh yeah, we got it from here. That's fine. We know exactly what to do. I've told a lot of clients, they kind of talk to me and they make it sound like their situation is unique. And of course, I'm empathetic to that. And I'll also say, well, I've talked to 3 other people today that have this, described it the same way as you. So they're happy to know that we exist. And so, but there's another segment of the market that our research shows does take the time to plan the care that's needed for their parents. And it could take up to 18 months for them to make a decision about how to care for them. So the first that I described is more of a triggering event, such as, a fall or a hospital stay, a broken bone, something like that triggers a hospital or a skilled nursing stay. And then the family realizes, oh my goodness, I need to do something here because I can't, afford to take off work to be able to take care of mom and dad. So are there companies out there that can help? And then they find that there's an entire industry devoted to that. And then there are other people that are seeing it. Maybe they visit their parents at the holidays and they say, oh my goodness, mom looks a lot different now than she did last year when I saw her. And they start to do some research that way. And that's where the digital marketing that Sean described comes in, because there are tons of posts and videos and blogs and all those things that we have posted across both brands that have the information available to families to be able to make that decision. Even if they don't need it today, they still have that information that's available to them.
That's awesome. That's great. And I'm glad you guys are there. I'm in that age set that I'm glad you're there. But hey, Sean, I was going to say, as we wrap up, is there a website that you'd like to share with the audience, just if they're interested in maybe joining the team or learning more? It takes a special person, but what an awesome model. Any could you share the website?
Yeah, it's TruBlueHouseCare.com for our consumer side. It also gets you the franchise side of learning more about being a franchisee, and that's TruBlueFranchise.com.
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you for being on the show today. I'm going to thank my audience and my sponsor, and bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks.